Okie doke. So hello everyone, and thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Julio Petrovitch, and I'm both technical marketing engineer and product manager for the AirCheck and the AirMagnet product lines. And today we're going to start with the very basics. I know some of you may already know all this stuff, and you want to go into the real important part. But for those of you that may not know what are our products, or may only know a few of them, and may be wondering what else do we do, we'll have a quick product overview. So give you an idea what we have, what have we done during the last year, or last time we joined the show or the event. So let's get started here pretty quickly. And this guy here, I think most of you know it already. It's one of our most popular tools, and it's the AirCheck G2. As you guys may know, it's the second generation of the old AirCheck, which is still pretty popular. There's a bunch of them out there. And it's basically a network professional's troubleshooting and validation tool. So you can use it to troubleshoot different problems on the Wi-Fi network, or you could use it to validate a Wi-Fi network too. And it's a mobile, ruggedized device. It's a handheld. You carry it around with you. It's about the size of a phone, a little bigger than that. Touchscreen, you swipe in, swipe out, and so on. It allows you to do an auto test. So if you want something very simple, super simple, you're like a technician and stuff, you're not like a Wi-Fi expert, it has a lot of the intelligence included. Or it can provide a lot of detail. So if you're the kind of guy that needs to do a packet capture, you need to measure utilization for both Wi-Fi and non-Wi-Fi. You want to know what the data rates are configured on the access point, what data rates are supported on the client, etc. All that information is included in there. And how is it normally used? Well, like I mentioned earlier, you can validate the network with it, or a Wi-Fi network. The idea is to help resolve any connectivity problems, throughput problems, etc. You can locate devices. You may not be aware of this, but the AirCheck is very popular with some organizations because they use it to locate unauthorized devices. In some environments, they don't allow wireless devices, and so they're not supposed to have like cellular or Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. So they use the AirCheck to locate any devices that shouldn't be there. So that's another use for it. You have the packet captures. Of course, if you want to do or perform more in-depth analysis, you can capture any packets and look at those. You can measure physical impacts on propagation. And of course, you can create an inventory, or basically scan everything that's out there. Access points, clients, etc. As for what exactly can you do with it, or what type of measurement does it provide, you have anything from both Wi-Fi and non-Wi-Fi utilization. So you can see what's really going on with the Wi-Fi network out there. You have the SNR, of course, so signal, noise, and thus calculate the SNR. You have visibility into all clients. So different from, let's say, for example, apps, which will give you visibility on clients that are connected to the network. In here, you can see also those that are not connected, or basically just sending probe requests out there. You have also co-channel and adjacent channel interference. So basically, interference between any access points, or Wi-Fi devices, sorry. Non-Wi-Fi interference. Are there any Bluetooth, cordless phones, and other weird stuff out there interfering with the network? You can see that there. You can verify connectivity to the network. So can I connect? Is it taking too long to get an IP address? Maybe the DNS server is not responding. All that kind of stuff. You have an Ethernet test. So let's say you're installing access points. You want to verify is there PoE on the cable. Can I see the DHCP server, the DNS server, etc. So all that is available in there. You have a throughput test. Those of you that were with us last year may remember that we introduced this feature in version 2.0. So that's still there. You have roaming performance. So you want to verify roaming between access points and how it's working. That's also there. And like I mentioned a few times by now, you have also the packet captures. So basically, a lot of stuff to help you troubleshoot the Wi-Fi network or validate. Then, besides the AirCheck G2, there's a few other products you may or may not know about. For example, one that was introduced last year at the same time when we released version 2.0 of the AirCheck G2 is the test accessory. And this one is basically a pocket-sized iPerf server. So basically, just plug it into the network, and it just works as an iPerf server. You synchronize with it, generates traffic. That's basically what it does. The current version supports iPerf 3. It can be managed with LinkLive, and we'll be talking a little more about LinkLive in a moment. But you can basically have multiple test accessories and claim all of them on LinkLive. It is automatically discoverable by the AirCheck G2. So there's no need to put in IP addresses and stuff like that, or look for different subnets. And can be powered via PoE or batteries. So you can just leave it there 24/7 as an iPerf server you can test against at any time. Or if you're just doing a temporary or quick test, you can use batteries. Then, besides that, another tool that you may or may not know about, and this one is fairly new, was released last year in October, if I remember correctly, is the LinkRunner G2, or what we like to call the Smart Network Tester. And the LinkRunner is more of a wired tester. So different from the AirCheck that was a Wi-Fi tester or wireless, the LinkRunner is an Ethernet or fiber tester. So just plug it into the network, and it will verify connectivity. It can also verify the condition or the quality of the cable, the quality of the connection. It can help you measure throughput if you want. You could use the test accessory that I mentioned earlier, or your own iPerf server. And the reason we call it a smart network tester is that, different from other testers on the market, the LinkRunner G2 is a combination of a wire tester and a phone, or basically an Android device. So technically, it uses an Android operating system, which means that, same as your phone, you can install apps on it. You can run different applications, use different tools, etc. So you're not restricted to the capabilities of the tester itself. So now, instead of having to carry around both your tester and your laptop, for example. Yeah, question?
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt, but
sure, no problem.
I'm curious on, you mentioned the fiber. Does it have DOM capabilities for like checking, receive signal on fiber, over fiber, things along those lines?
Yes, it does.
Okay, great.
Oh, just in case if you guys want to ask a question, feel free to interrupt me anytime. Just scream, because I may not be looking over you all the time. So you say, hey, I have a question. So don't be shy about it. A few other things, very super quick. On the LinkRunner G2, it supports UPoE. So you guys may know that some of the newer access points now require UPoE, or 51 watts of power. So basically, the more radios to keep adding to those access points, the more power they need. So UPoE is supported on the LinkRunner G2 if you want to verify PoE or test for PoE when installing those newer access points. Like I mentioned, you have multiple interfaces. The two default interfaces are Ethernet, copper, and fiber. Still, since it has multiple USB ports, you have the option of also, for example, plugging in a Wi-Fi radio, or a Bluetooth radio, or a BLE radio. And then you can install your own app, and you can do Wi-Fi testing, or Bluetooth testing, or BLE testing.
Apps are supported from the Google Store?
Good question. The apps basically are on what we call the NETSCOUT store. Basically, it's like similar to a Google Store, but with a limited list. The reason for that is that most of our customers We prefer if we don't have like games and things like that. So we restrict it to tools that are useful.
Could I just load an APK on there?
Not manually, not at this time. Still, that's a very good question. It is something that we will be allowing in a future version. But with the current version that you guys may have right now, no, they won't allow a manual APK, but when the next version, yes.
So what's the turnaround time from, say, hi, I have this app that I want, getting it into the NETSCOUT store?
It could be between a few hours or 24 hours.
Oh, okay.
So reality is it's normally an hour or two. So just request it on Link Live, and between an hour or two, you'll normally get it. But officially, up to 24 hours.
Is there capability, and if so, any thought around moving this same OS into the AirCheck line?
That's a very good question. And without going into too much detail, because I don't want to get too far ahead, yes.
Does it support the USB port? Can you plug anything into it and have it work, or does it have to be a special USB radio, or is it special?
That's a good question. So it will support most of the most common USB radios, or Wi-Fi radios, Bluetooth, etc. There might be some that are not supported. In that case, you can always come to us and we can add the drivers in there.
So when we start talking about new power standards, I mean, 51 watts at UPOE, is there any chance that it currently or a future version may support charging over that network port?
Well, it currently does charge over the network port.
Okay, so you can, but just plugging into the network, it can charge.
That's correct.
That's awesome.
No need to use the AC power cord, although it's still included there. But basically, since you're testing PoE most of the time, it's very rare for it to run out of battery, because basically it's charging all the time while you're plugged in.
That's not true of the AirCheck line, though, right?
Not on the AirCheck, not at this time, no.
Is that coming?
That is something that we're planning for the future, yes. Because it's a very popular feature.
Fantastic.
Is there any
I'm
chance?
just thinking G2, the series should be the same across the board, right?
Yeah. Is there any chance of LinkRunner / AirCheck G3? The same form factor, same thing, same interface, just the radio difference.
Again, without going too far ahead on the future, the answer is yes.
I mean, I think it's
without giving you too many details, because then I will be going like, oh man, I give you too much stuff in here. No, but yes, the answer is yes.
It makes sense. You guys are obviously always going to be working on the next revisions.
That's correct. And the main idea is to, like you mentioned, try to make sure all our products use like a similar hardware capabilities and features, and we're moving that way. So yes, a lot of the stuff you're seeing here will also become part of the other products in the future.
And you actually have a speaker port.
Yep, that's a few other things I wanted to mention here very super quickly.
It's not Lightning?
Huh?
Not Lightning?
No. So regarding other smartphone attributes, like Keith mentioned, think of it as a tester phone type of thing. So it includes a speaker, microphone, a camera, a flash, or basically a flashlight if you want to use it that way. You can rotate the display, same as any other phone. And you have standby, micro SD ports, different USB ports, etc. So think of it as just a combination between a tester and a phone, or a smartphone.
With all of the attributes, the speaker, flash, camera, stuff like that, can you load, I know the screen would be pretty small for this, but could you load like a floor plan that you were working on, and then on the map, touch and then document where the picture was taken? Like snap a picture and touch on the map for later?
Yes, you can. It will depend on the app and the app that you're using, but the hardware itself will support it.
Okay.
So for example, one app that we have available is called the Survey Mobile. And that one basically allows you to perform a basic coverage or download throughput survey. So you can technically just download it from the App Store, then import a floor plan and walk around, do your survey. save it, and then share it with a different application or a different tool. You could take photos, or like you said, screenshots or whatever, and attach that. Or if you prefer to use a different application instead of a Survey Mobile, then depending on the capabilities of that tool, then you'll be able to use those too. So whatever your phone supports, basically, same here.
So
I would say, from the internet, how about dual SIMs so it could actually be a phone?
Not on the current version. That's the only part that's missing, the LTE part.
So I'm not 100% familiar with the LinkRunner, but there's another end of the tester, something that you test against, right?
It depends on the type of test you're
doing a cable
trying to perform. If you're trying to perform, for example, an iPerf test, you could use any other iPerf server or a test accessory. If you're performing like a high throughput or stress test, you could use one of the one-touch units, which are the bigger ones. Or you could use, for example, another LinkRunner.
So if you were testing against, like if you were doing a copper plant test where you're in an IDF and there's somebody else on the other side, could you use the speaker and mic to communicate to each? Because I've seen cable testers where you plug in and you can talk to the other end.
Yes, you can. In this case, it will be through the Wi-Fi though. So let's say you install Jabber, WebEx, something else, whatever app is out there to do voice over Wi-Fi, for example. Or voice over the network, you could use the Ethernet for that. Also, you'll be using it for testing, so that may not work so well.
No analog voice though across the.
No analog voice. No. It will be through whatever radio you plug into it.
That would be a nice feature if you were thinking about features to add.
Yeah, it is an interesting idea indeed. So, yeah.
I have a question from Twitter about whether or not the iPerf server capability will be backported to the LinkSprinter 300. Like go back and put features in older products.
Yeah, not at this time. So I know where the idea is. For example, the test accessory right now is basically an iPerf server. It has some of the testing capabilities of the LinkSprinter 300. So you plug it into a network, it will verify PoE, it will tell you if there's an IP address, the HCP server, and so on. So all that is there. But the LinkSprinter 300 only does the connectivity test part. It doesn't have the iPerf testing part. So at least so far, we don't have plans or like mixing both together. But you never know what may happen in the future. And since you guys are giving me ideas here, you never know. So, any other question before we move on? Nope. Okay, cool.
Actually, one more. PCAPs, is it capable of capturing PCAPs?
The current firmware, no. But the new firmware, yes. Okie doke. So, moving on pretty quickly, again,
Real quick,
sure.
LinkRunner. I know you can use one USB NIC. Can you put more than one in there and use them?
Yes, it has multiple USB ports. If I remember, 2 normal.
Yeah, but you can.
Yeah, but you still can plug in both.
Run, okay.
Yeah, multiple radios in there, yeah. So a few other things, very super basic here, just to give those that don't know the product, how it can help or simplify troubleshooting. PoE verification load testing on all 4 pairs. Up to 1 gigabyte of speed or link speed, duplex, copper and fiber. Nearest switch discovery, like we mentioned earlier, you can verify DHCP, DNS, routing services. Ensure web connectivity, or basically can you connect to the internet? Device connectivity. And of course, as most of our products these days, you can upload those results to Link Live. So you perform a test, everything goes to the cloud, and we'll be talking about Link Live a little more in a moment, but basically it's our cloud-based repository for test results and also for managing the tools.
Can this do mapping functions on the wire to give you distances and stuff? And then how about multi-gig testing capability?
Multi-gig on the current version, no. As for the mapping, it depends on the app that you have. The app that comes by default, the testing app, does not include mapping. It will allow you to perform, for example, on the wire connected to, a test on that wire, and it will tell you the distance and so on. But on mapping of the entire network, no. Still, if you have an app that will do that, you technically can install the app in there, and it will do that.
You plan to,
Notice a little hint that that may be available in the future.
you plan to support 10 gig, 25 gig, 40 gig at some point on the device?
For the LinkRunner G2, we are planning on going multi-gig in the future. Well, maybe not for the LinkRunner. Let's not say G2, because it may be a different version of the hardware.
GX.
Yeah, GX, let's say it that way. But yes, we are planning on going multi-gig.
Do you know what your time frame is for that, or will you ever support speeds as high as 10 gig, or
On the fiber or on the copper?
on the fiber?
Yeah.
Yeah, 10 gig will come, let's say, I would say next year. I can't give you too much of a month or anything, because we're still working on it. But I would say a 10 gig version of our testers will come in next year. And also multi-gig, but that'll be like 2.5, 4.x, etc. Okie doke. So anyway, moving on then. So that was the LinkRunner G2. Then the other product that we already highlighted a few times, or mentioned a few times, is Link Live. And technically, even though it's a free product, it's still a product. And what it does is that it allows you to manage all your test results on all your units on a single place. So you tie or claim your units to Link Live, anything from the AirCheck to LinkRunner, the OneTouch, Link Sprinter, test accessory. You can upload all the test results there. You can manage the units, assign them to different technicians or engineers in the field, etc. And the idea is to simplify collaboration. You have a lot of people out in the field. They're all doing their own testing, and you want to know, hey, what are they doing? Maybe they perform a test. They're like, we saw these results, but we really don't know what the problem is. Can you take a look at this? So instead of having to email you the results or put them on a USB, drive to the office and share them with someone, all the results can be uploaded to Link Live, and someone else can review them from there. Or maybe you just want to generate a report that takes into consideration all the tests that all the people in the field did. So you can do that, just capture results from all the techs in the field and generate a report. Or maybe you just want to manage the units, see who has what, who ran each test, where was the test ran, and so on. So that's the idea of Link Live. Of course, we also use it for software or firmware updates. So if your units are claimed into Link Live, you can update the firmware of the units. You have notifications, and being a free product, you have unlimited number of users you can claim, or unlimited number of testers.
What is that limit?
Unlimited.
Unlimited.
Oh, unlimited. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, it's my accent. My tongue gets a little heavy sometimes. So, next. So this one people has been asking for a while. Another product line that we have is what we call the AirMagnet product line. And some people has been wondering for a while, what's going on with AirMagnet? So here's a quick overview of the products that are included on AirMagnet. Number one, you have the AirMagnet Survey PRO. Basically a planning and designing plus validation tool. So you can plan a new network. It will calculate how many access points, where to place them, and so on. Or you can validate an existing network, or you can do an AP and a stick, and so on, by just performing different types of surveys, active, passive, BOFI surveys, spectrum surveys, iPerf surveys, etc. So all that is included in there. Another product that's part of the AirMagnet family is the Wi-Fi Analyzer. This one is a little different. This one is basically, or at least I like to think of it as a compilation of troubleshooting tools. So you have roaming analysis, you have packet analysis, you have what we call the Airwise intelligence, which is the name we give to intelligence of the system. And basically what that does is that it reads through all the RF and frame information, and basically it will identify different problems, give you recommendations on what to do about them. Then besides that, you have, for example, compliance reports, or you have connectivity tests, or you have iPerf tests. So think of it as a compilation of multiple tools on a single piece of software. And then the last, or part of the core AirMagnet products, is Spectrum XT, which, as the name implies, is a spectrum analyzer. Basically used to troubleshoot problems with interference, caused by both Wi-Fi and non-Wi-Fi. And it has all the basic stuff like duty cycle, FFTs, spectrograms, waterfalls, etc. But one of the most important parts, or unique parts, is that it reads through all that information and is able to automatically identify different sources of interference. So different from other handheld-based products out there, it will tell you, hey, we found a microwave oven, or a Bluetooth, or a cordless phone. It also has radar detection, for example. You have customizable reports, of course, and so on.
So,
yes?
The radar detection for DFS events?
Yes. So the latest version of the Spectrum XT, we added an option that will basically tell you if it sees the APs changing channels because of DFS events, and a pop-up will come up, and it will tell you, whoops, we detected a DFS event on APX, change channels from X to Y, and do you want to run the radar detection tool?
Does it do the reverse, saying AP's changed, they thought there was a DFS event, but we didn't see one? For the false positive?
Since we're independent from the AP itself, basically we'll just see what it's on the beacons and what we see on the frame, on the spectrum itself. So if the AP changes channels and we see at the same time that there's a radar event or radar transmission, then that's where we trigger it. If the AP changes channels and it thinks it's a DFS event, but we detect no radar transmission, then in that case we will not trigger it, because basically, hey, the AP is changing channels, but it could be the controller doing that. So we don't know why the AP or the controller decided to change channels, because we're independent from the controller.
Is it possible to add the DFS detection stuff into the AirCheck?
It is technically possible. It's not there yet, but it is technically possible. I can't think of a reason why not.
Even expanding on that, maybe some of these features, I realize there's not a whole bunch of real estate in this right here. But I mean, is it possible to put some of these Spectrum XT features into that too? I know there's even somebody mentioned it on Twitter, Drew, but I know other people have mentioned that too. Some of that Spectrum SpecAn stuff in a handheld tester like that is a game changer.
Yep, I completely agree personally, and it is something we are working on.
Cool.
It's not there yet, and one of the things we've, I guess, had some, let's say, doubts about is the size of the screen mostly. It's like, how easy would it be to read an FFT or a spectrogram on, well, a little phone screen?
For sure.
So,
I mean, there's other products out there. We had something out here. I mean, of course, it's not like it might be a situation where we're not actually looking for like just this massive, a bunch of detail into it, but maybe something, hold up. A quick scan. We got a little something going on here. maybe I should break out something a little bit more detailed.
Yeah.
Or write something off completely.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that would be huge.
Because that way that you're capturing that moment in time, you're going to record it, and then review it later on this.
Yep.
Right, so you can actually go back and do a replay.
That's that's a pretty good idea there. That's a pretty good idea.
We don't want to carry all of this.
Yeah.
Carry that little guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, helps you record the moment in time, the location. Okay, move on, and then review later.
That's a pretty good idea there.
Yeah,
That's
you
a
almost
good one.
don't even need to see it as so much as it is. I need to record it,
Done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
done. Or if you do see it, maybe you're looking at a specific. You know what I mean?
And maybe you didn't
I'm on-
see it, right?
Maybe a
on channel
combination of
36,
both,
and I
give
just
you
wanna
like
see what's
a
going on in that area. I don't.
Yeah.
Maybe just break it into Uni 1, 2, and 3,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
4, and then instead of having it,
Yeah.
you need to see the rest of them. You
Yeah. No, that's a good idea. Maybe a combination where we give you like a preview on the small screen, but we allow you to save it if you want to look at it on a bigger screens. Yeah, that's a pretty good one there. So
Quick question. I wanted to go back to the AirMagnet portion because we kind of just like hit that with like 2 slides.
Okay.
What are like the future plans for upgrades and updates to AirMagnet? Their features added to it.
yeah, very good question.
maybe a
So-
UI update.
So, very good question. So, we're still supporting the AirMagnet Pro line. For example, in April, we released Survey 921, which included support for basically any Wi-Fi adapter. So, in the past, you may remember that we were limited to X Wi-Fi adapters. Now you can use anything you want. So, a lot of people.
Including internals?
Yes, including internals. Yeah.
Like any internal?
Yeah. Any Windows-based adapter. So also some improvements on the AutoCAD extraction tool that basically draws all the walls, etc. So there were some improvements on that tool for the planning part of the survey. Multiple fixes, of course, more antenna patterns. Also, a few other things have been. Yeah.
Just back up that question on any NIC. Is that for survey or for analyzer?
That's for survey.
Oh, man, you got me there.
Yeah, it's for
thought that
survey
was-
right now. For now, it's for survey. Yeah.
You almost got Keith happy.
Well, and getting back to Jennifer's question, the Survey Pro product and comments from Twitter feels very dated. It feels like it's not gone through any sort of a refresh in the past decade and a half.
Yep, and I completely agree with that feeling. Still, without giving, I guess, too much again, you guys are asking tough questions here. Maybe going too far in what I'm allowed to share, but
No,
but yeah, between us.
The internet.
We are basically working with new products, let's say it that way. Refreshing the existing products may be nice, but do we really just want to continue just refreshing a product that has been around for almost 20 years now?
no.
Agree? So let's say that we are working with newer products.
He wasn't asking me?
So that's as much as I can tell you without going into too much detail. We're working on newer products, and you will see some new stuff coming out.
So I guess if we consider, a new to wireless person, or maybe a person who's changed jobs or something along those lines, and now they're looking to purchase survey tools, I guess the concern that most of them are going to have at this point is it's a fairly old product. There's not been a ton of updates. Are they making a mistake by investing in it? I think that's the concern, kind of across the industry.
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think not. We are pretty good at supporting older products. So it's not like a new product will come out and will completely kill the previous one or anything like that. We still will continue supporting the older products. And we're also willing to consider, for example, having an upgrade path to whatever comes new.
Okay.
So that's also something that we're more than willing to do.
Thank you.
What about refreshes to the Spectrum XT product, specifically with regards to the physical adapter itself? Because I know there are newer chipsets out on the market and some competitors that have much better resolutions on the SpecCAN that I've actually personally seen where your product has not caught something, but the other ones have, just because of the resolution and quicker scan.
That's a very good question. Same as with the survey tool, we are also working, let's say, on newer products to not only complement, but also at some time maybe replace Spectrum XT. Still, same answer to him. It's not like we're going to like kill the product or anything like that. We'll continue supporting it. Our policy is that even if we had a end of sale date, and we don't, we still support products 3 years, 4 years after. So, and of course, there's always an upgrade path, like I mentioned earlier.